What's up, YouTube? This is Tom with Fresh Vintage. We have a very, very special guest. We have Kyle Petty himself here. Thank you so much
for having me.
Absolutely,
Thanks for having me.
We're here at Chattanooga Motorcar Festival 2023. What we wanted to chat with you about today is I was looking online and I saw you were at the Food City on Twitter X there. I saw that post. I was like, hey, my man, what'd you pick up? Get anything good?
So here's what I got. I got some kind of little chicken nugget things for my kids.
Okay.
I got a loaf of bread. I think I got a half gallon of milk. I got some granola for me.
Okay.
I had Coca-Cola because I always have Coca-Cola.
There you go.
And I think that's pretty much all I bought. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, I bought some kind of Aquaphor or something for my kid because he got a little rash. But that's a whole nother.
Okay.
That's too much information, I know, but there it is.
This is great. So the main thing I wanted to ask you about is thinking about your upbringing and how you got into NASCAR and how you came up through the ranks, so to speak. Looking at when you were racing versus now, like some things that you like and maybe some things you dislike per se about the modern day NASCAR racing.
It's just different, and I tell people I like everything. I like everything about racing. There's nothing that I've ever looked at and said, man, I wish they'd change this.
Yeah.
Listen, it's always going to evolve, and it's going to come full circle. Things that they do today, it's a little bit more technical. It's a lot more technical. There's a lot more technology in the sport, but basically, you're still trying to do the same thing. You're trying to pass this white line and get back to it as quick as you can for 500 times or for 500 miles or 600, whatever it may be. So the general premise is the same, just how you go about doing it.
Yeah.
What I wish was the same as it used to be is I wish drivers with talent still could get to the top. It's not so much drivers with talent now, though all these guys have massive talent that are in the cup level. You don't get there and stay there without talent. But you can get there different ways, and it's a financial game anymore. It's only a sport kind of from the time they throw the green flag until the time they throw the rest of the time it's business.
Yeah.
So the business has become more. So maybe that's the part that if I would change, I wish it would go back to being a little bit more of a sport. But even when I talked to my dad, it was business then. You didn't have money, you didn't go to the racetrack. If you didn't go win, you didn't make money. That's the way it was, and it's always going to be that, and it's still that way.
And that makes a lot of sense because everything, dare I say, so many things in life feel commercialized now. And it makes sense, I get it, but it's like the pure racing. I remember Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking about, he drove a car from the 80s when his dad rode, and he's like, man, this thing is kind of wild. And it's like, that's exactly what you want. You want some wild, crazy racing, but it was also raw and real and fun back then. So
it was, and here's the thing, we're standing here amid all these Ferraris. And this was so far advanced from what a stock car was. Even when you start looking at these cars, it's like, oh my God, man! I drove a race car in the '80s, and it wasn't anywhere close to what these things were. But it was still man and machine. It was still, you had guys, and you looked at Pearson or Petty, or you looked at Earnhardt and Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace, or even when Jeff Gordon came along, you looked at those guys and you thought, man, that guy could be my next door neighbor. He's just out there getting it done.
He's just a good friend.
Just a friend, that's right.
Yeah.
And that part of it has changed. But listen, it's changed in the NFL, it's changed in the NBA, it's changed in all sports.
Yeah.
The banker lives in a different part of town than he used to live in now, and that's kind of the way it is.
And that, I wholeheartedly agree. So I was checking out your charity, Kyle Petty charity ride.
Ride, yeah.
Could you speak to that? Some of the stuff you're doing with that?
So we do a motorcycle ride across country. We started in '95. We took off a year for COVID, about a year and a half. So this will be our 29th year, I think, coming up next year. And we've raised over $22 million for different charities, mostly for Victory Junction, which is a camp in North Carolina that we built. So, man, we just keep riding motorcycles. I like cars, but I'm a motorcycle guy. I know that sounds crazy to say I'm a motorcycle guy, but I'm a motorcycle guy.
That's awesome, man. And bravo to you for all the charity work. That's a big thing. There's people who they can't do it for themselves. So having charities there, just God bless you, man. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Couple fun questions here. Best track experience, like what's your favorite track, and like you ever run someone off the road or run someone into the wall or something like that, like your favorite experience there?
So I wrecked Ricky Rudd at Martinsville one time. And he was really mad, and I shouldn't have. That was me, and I've apologized to him for like 35 years for doing it, because it was I just got mad. So yeah, that's bad. But you know what? I think my favorite track's always been Daytona, just because there's so much history there. I've been able to run to 24 hours there in a sports car. I've run the Busch race or the Xfinity race on Saturday, run the Cup race on Sunday. So I've raced just about anything you can race there. So that's just always been. And they got an ocean. Man, you can't go wrong. When a city's got an ocean, you can't go wrong, man.
So one final question. This is a fun one. What's in your garage? What is Kyle Petty? What are you daily driving?
So in my garage, I've got I think it's a 2018 Harley Road Glide, and I've got a 1966 R90 BMW, and those are my daily drivers.
That's very nice.
I ride motorcycles, man. I got a minivan. I got a Pacifica. Okay,
Pacifica.
And before I had the Pacifica, I had a Prius. Okay, so I've gone from a Prius to a Pacifica.
We'll cut that part out of
the
the video,
that's
folks.
the best part. That's the best part, man. That's the true part.
That's awesome, man. Kyle, thank you so much.
Thank you,
really,
man.
really appreciate you
Thank
taking
you.
the time. And folks, if you like classic cars, if you like muscle cars, if you like Ferraris, if you like NASCAR and Kyle Petty, if you like DIY scan tools and tech, Fresh Vintage is your channel. Please like and subscribe, and make sure you keep it between the ditches.